you're a loser.
Yeah.
कि the reason I was selecting to do this project was wrong. And it is my fault especially. इस चेहरे को अब किसी भी कीमत पे ना भिखारी, अनपढ़ या भूखा नहीं दिखा सकते। ऐसा कर्ज होता है कुछ लोगों का, आप ऐसा कर ही नहीं सकते।
ऐसा नहीं होता कि जम नहीं रहा है, वो सही जवाब नहीं होता है कि क्यों नहीं जम रहा है भाई, राइटिंग में क्या फ्लॉ है जिसके वजह से आपको नहीं जम रहा है, ये कैरेक्टर का आर्क सही नहीं है। सो आई एम ऑल्सो लर्निंग टू लर्न द लैंग्वेज टू कम्युनिकेट बेटर सो दैट देयर इज अ बेटर कोलैबोरेशन।
I can tell you that the relationship I shared with my wife, for instance, is very different now. I mean, I think over the years, it has become more respect, it has become more awe than just romance.
तो आपकी आइडियोलॉजीज एक है, हाँ मैं एक राइचियस इंसान हूँ, आई विल स्टैंड अप फॉर अदर पर्सन, बट व्हेन यू आर इन अ सिचुएशन व्हेन देयर आर पीपल हु आर इन अ बेटर लाइक इन अ हायर पोजीशन, आपका मुंह नहीं खुलता।
When everybody was doing romance in America and you're thinking कि प्यार तो खाली अमेरिका में होता है, I did Tanuvid's one.
Yeah.
Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
Hi, and before I even go anywhere, let me just tell you, I'm sitting with Apustaflaw and Indrajal. Now I know that is the most weird words to hear, and you will have no idea what I'm talking about. Just wait for a few days, watch Netflix, and you will understand what I'm talking about. But I am definitely sitting with these people, the lovely people. Those are R. Madhavan and Fatima Sana Sheikh. Hi guys.
Hi.
And yeah, I've already hint dropped there what these words mean. They will soon know it. But you know, even before I get into anything else, I am a person who मतलब मैं सीधे ना मेरे को nuances और subtleties देखना शुरू करता हूँ, especially in a film like this, where it is nothing is pronounced but everything is conveyed. You know, it is rare and it still hits you. It still hits the right chords, right? What I want to know from you guys is that, you know, there's so many things here, like these dialogues, especially, you know, that one scene I have to highlight because it's my it's a very small scene but a beautiful scene. He's on, your character is on the video call with his bhabhi, and you know, she's showing these two jars and he's like, select करे कौन सा, and वो बहुत subtly drop करते हैं, बाजार में options, you know, बहुत ज़्यादा है. It's, you know, it's sort of a dig at, you know, his character because hurry up, your age is running out, things like that. I'm on my way, I'm in my way, things like this. It is so small. All these are small things. What I want to know from you, apart from all this, is that as actors, you read it, right? You read it and you know that this is beautiful, this is gonna be, you know, it's beautifully written. But not necessarily all beautiful lines transpire as beautifully on screen.
True.
Here it does. But as actors, do you catch hold of it, or do you have a hunch about these things when you start shooting?
Go ahead.
Not really, क्योंकि I feel that, you know, that's a director's vision, and as an actor I can only surrender. I've met the director, I'm vibing, I'm liking his energy, I feel he's making the film with the right intention of making a good film and hoping that the language is similar or better than what it is on the script. And luckily Vivek वैसा है, वो कोई भी script को visually इतना एलिवेट कर लेता है और मोमेंट्स को भी इतना ब्यूटीफुली शूट करता है कि स्पेशली आफ्टर वाचिंग मीनाक्षी यू नो कि यू आर इन गुड हैंड्स, यू नो यू फील सिक्योर.
लवली. सो
हम लोग जब स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ते हैं ना फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, तो एक तो ना हम बड़ा एनालिटिकली पढ़ने की कोशिश करते हैं, एंड समवेयर डाउन द रोड ना व्हेन यू आर रीडिंग द स्क्रिप्ट यू कैन इमेजिन योरसेल्फ सेइंग दोज लाइंस, यू नो, इट रीचेस आउट, एंड आप ना 2-3 बार पढ़ते हो कि ये लाइन मैं ऐसा कहूँगा, फिर आप रियलाइज करते हो कि यार तू अपने आप से ये करने की बात कर रहा है, मतलब आपको अपील हो गया. जैसे इस फिल्म में वो लाइन था कि जहाँ मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अकेला इंसान खुश हो या उदास,
एंड इट्स कॉल्ड बैक,
एक सही लगता है, रिकॉल. सो मैंने कहा हाँ यार सही है, एंड सो यू स्टार्ट रिलेटिंग टू द लाइंस, हाउ यू रीड अ सीन एंड यू थिंक ये सीन को ना मैं ऐसे करूँगा, and then you know कि it's appealing to your heart,
right?
And that's when you say कि हाँ यार I can imagine myself doing this.
Lovely. And parallel note, sir, because in your case also, of course in your case also, as I mentioned कि not always does that happen. कुछ बहुत अच्छी लिखावट होती है, it is not necessarily transpiring. Have you had instances where you felt कि this is beautiful writing, but it does not necessarily reach its full potential? It's not about being bad. Sometimes it doesn't reach its full potential. Have you had instances or projects like these where you felt that?
Yeah, a lot.
Lot?
A lot of them.
Over the years, or it's like कि one off ऐसा हो जाता है?
No. Over the years, and you realize कि then your parameters for agreeing for that project. I think I'll be in a position to answer this more than her because of the kind of options I've had. कि the reason I was selecting to do this project was wrong. एंड इट इज माई फॉल्ट स्पेशली, क्योंकि कभी कभी ना यू इमेजिन कि यार मैं ऐसा हीरो बन सकता हूँ, मैं ना ऐसा करूंगा तो मुझे BNC मार्केट में ना दाखिलात मिल जाएगी,
Right.
तो सलमान जी का मार्केट जो है वो शायद हमारा भी हो जाए थोड़ा सा।
Correct.
बट देन यू रियलाइज यू डोंट बिलोंग
Intention गलत
मतलब
है।
इस चेहरे को आप किसी भी कीमत पे ना भिखारी, अनपढ़ या भूखा नहीं दिखा सकते। You know, ऐसा कर्स होता है कुछ लोगों का, आप ऐसा कर ही नहीं सकते। you know.
Yeah.
तो the reasons for doing it was wrong, which is why I know that I am at fault.
Lovely. And even in your case, I know it's technically a shorter career in terms of
Yes.
your. Have you had a moment like that?
या बट यू नो जैसे हर गलती नहीं मतलब हर एक्सपीरियंस से आप सीखते हो एंड यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाई हैव यू मेड दैट डिसीजन एंड नेक्स्ट टाइम इफ समथिंग लाइक दैट हैपेंस हाउ डू यू आर्टिकुलेट बिकॉज
Right.
फॉर दैट ऐसा नहीं होता कि जम नहीं रहा है, वो सही जवाब नहीं होता है कि
Correct.
क्यों नहीं जम रहा है भाई, राइटिंग में क्या फ्लॉ है जिसके वजह से आपको नहीं जम रहा है, ये कैरेक्टर का आर्क सही नहीं है. सो आई एम ऑल्सो लर्निंग टू लर्न द लैंग्वेज टू कम्युनिकेट बेटर सो
Right.
दैट देयर इज अ बेटर कोलैबोरेशन.
Lovely. Fabulous. And you know, I've sort of already had a talk with you chota chota off screen already before we started, and I was mentioning this to you guys that especially to Fatima a while ago, that this feels like a period drama even though it's not a period drama.
So
It's
true.
very much a today's story, the lighting, the mood, it's so vintage, it's pure, you know, it feels like the warmest hug that you need,
Yeah.
you know, cuddled up in your blankets and everything, right?
Yeah.
What I want to know is that when you see stories like these, you obviously love it and everything, but you know that in your real self, you have a modern day relationship to tackle.
Yeah.
Someone has a wife, someone has a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. Sometimes you try to, जैसे हम दूसरी स्टोरीज में हम इमुलेट करना शुरू करते हैं या सोचना शुरू करते हैं कि you know इस तरह के हम चीज़ें गलत कर रहे हैं या सही कर रहे हैं अपने रिलेशनशिप में, and we should work on it. With something like this which is so pure and literally so pure, there is absolutely no malice otherwise. How much do you emulate that into your modern relationships, in your real relationship, so to speak? Does that happen with you? Do you end up doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love over a period of time changes and how it has to be expressed or understood. So I can tell you that the relationship I shared with my wife, for instance, is very different now. I mean, I think over the years it has become more respect, it has become more awe than just romance.
Right.
So love manifests itself in the highest form of respect, in what I keep saying, and that's what happens over here.
Yeah.
She doesn't, Madhu doesn't demean Sri Renu.
Correct.
She explains to him कि तुम्हारा जो belief है, जो background से आप आए हो, वो मेरे को छोटा दिखाता है, वो मुझे खराब फील करवाता है. And she does it in a polite way, without having to yell and make him
Right.
feel small.
Yeah.
And he understands that it's a sincere attempt
Yeah.
for her to show her innermost feelings to him.
Yeah.
Correct. Lovely. But do you feel कि because हम, as I mentioned, हम है तो modern day, we have 1,000 things to do as work-wise, right? It is very easy to be affected by the white noise. The white noise gets to you, right?
Correct.
Sometimes.
Very true.
And in that situation, as pure as you want to be, as real as you want to be with your actual partner as well, it's probably the most difficult thing because क्योंकि ये भी theory होती है कि यार तुम्हारा गुस्सा या तुम्हारा जो भी है वो अपने loved one पे ही निकलेगा.
Correct.
So this, this dilemma that you tackle, this you can, chime in because you're yet to get married and, you will have a future later.
Yeah.
How much do you think that you try to be your real self at the same time, trying to be right all the time?
It's tough, yeah. Because आप खुद के, to understand what you actually feel. कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, आपको लगता है कि this is what I stand for. But जब आप एक real situation में जाते हो ना, तब आप कुछ बोलते नहीं हो या तब आप थोड़े साइड में चले जाते हो. तो आपकी आइडियोलॉजीज एक है, हाँ मैं एक राइचियस इंसान हूँ, आई विल स्टैंड अप फॉर अदर पर्सन, बट व्हेन यू आर इन अ सिचुएशन व्हेन देयर आर पीपल हु आर इन अ बेटर लाइक इन अ हायर पोजीशन, आपका मुंह नहीं खुलता बिकॉज देन यू थिंक ऑफ के नहीं वो क्या सोचेगा, मेरा पोजीशन क्या है, फलाना ढिमका. रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस इज वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम व्हाट योर वर्ड्स आर.
Of course.
सो आई थिंक दैट्स द टाइम व्हेन यू स्टार्ट चैलेंजिंग योरसेल्फ एंड देन यू रियलाइज कि एक्चुअली मैं सोच रही हूँ कि मैं ऐसी हूँ बट मेरे एक्शंस वो नहीं कह रहे. सो आई थिंक इट्स अ लॉट ऑफ
Very nice point.
बाउंसिंग ऑफ एंड यूजुअली पार्टनर इज दैट पर्सन.
Lovely.
क्योंकि क्या होता है, आप जो आपका ट्रूएस्ट सेल्फ आप अपने पार्टनर के साथ
Correct,
होते हो.
correct.
क्योंकि वो जो रिलेशनशिप होता है ना, दोस्त बोलते हैं कि यार पर मैंने तो सोचा ही नहीं था ये ऐसा होगा,
Yeah.
मैंने तो इसका ये देखा ही नहीं है पार्ट. वो आपको क्यों दिखाएगा, वो आपका दोस्त है.
Exactly. Correct.
क्योंकि इंटीमेट तो मैं इस इंसान के साथ होती हूँ ना, तो मेरी हार्शनेस मेरा प्यार, मेरा सब कुछ उस इंसान के साथ होगा. So there's so much to learn from
Yeah.
your partner.
Absolutely, absolutely. And because all of us have, evolving egos. I mean, हम कितना भी सोच ले, कुछ भी कर ले, we have evolving egos
Correct.
all the time to be tackling. And now a little digress a little bit with Marisa, you again, because I say this, I was talking about it already. In the past 15 months, at least in the Hindi belt, you've played a righteous simpleton, you've played an unhinged mad guy. You've played a husband who has like some is morally ambiguous. Here you've played the sweetest man who's obviously just ingrained patriarchy, but he has all the sweet intentions. This is the kind of range an actor dreams for.
Yeah.
है ना? And for an actor like you who's always been loved over the years, but now it's transpiring into projects. And again, I talk about Hindi Belt primarily. A lot of them have not necessarily seen all the projects you've done south. What I want to know is, do you believe that this is a case of just the right things happening at the right time, or the success of something dictates and the projects that come along to you, and now you're much more open to getting all these projects back to back?
There's a 2-point answer. The first one is it's time and space aligning itself correctly for me, because be it Kesari or be it Aap Jaisa Koi, I didn't expect Dhurandhar to release yesterday. It's not in my control.
The
you know what I
timing,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah, the timing is not in my control.
Yeah.
The timing of the release of any of my films. This we started barely 6 months ago, and now
Yeah.
it's releasing.
Yeah.
We did Kesari for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
We did and then there is 3 more films
Three more
lined up for
films
this
lined
year. So the timing is not in my hands. So it's all.
Sure.
The second thing is, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was able to hold back and change the way the story needs to be told, and I need to be seen.
Okay.
So very few actors will agree to do a film like Aap Jaisa Koi right now, because it's so opposite of the grain that
Right.
that we're doing it. I'll give you a case in point. When everybody was doing romance in America, and you're thinking कि प्यार तो खाली अमेरिका में होता है, I did Thunderbirds Manu.
Yeah.
When everybody thought कि film में ही करना है, then I did Breathe on OTT on them.
Correct.
So the ability to look around the corner a little bit has probably kept me relevant, and all that is paying off right now. So all the young directors who I was hoping will get impressed by my work while I was doing that are the ones who I'm making movies with right now.
Fantastic.
That's all worked out very well, yeah.
Lovely. And Fatima, a similar story in your case. Of course, we're not talking about again, as you mentioned, timelines are just not beyond our control.
correct.
You wouldn't have, no one would have ideally wanted their project to drop in the matter of 2 weeks. It's great, but it's also like a double-edged sword kind of
Yeah.
situation, hai na? In your case, what I want to know is, I know that the timelines of shooting, as you mentioned, AJK just started and just came along.
Yeah.
It was like a start to finish kind of a
Yeah.
project, right?
Yeah.
But for you right now, who's done these back-to-back love stories,
Yes.
the other film also has a love story, much more modern. Modern, I say, in the sense of, how it appeals to the
Yeah.
modern dynamics of
Yeah.
relationships, right?
Yeah.
From jumping from one love story to another with completely 2 different ideologies, at the same time having the full realm of relatability.
Correct.
You just relate to both of these in their own ways.
Correct.
What I want to know from you is, how difficult kind of a switch off, switch on button do you have, as an actor? Because you are in a very different mood setting there and in a very different mood setting here.
I think वो अभी मेरा काम है, to perform and be my best on that day, have the utmost amount of focus, because in the end focus होना चाहिए, and माहौल, director, script की वो requirement है. I don't carry these characters back home. शूट कर लिया है, वो थोड़ा बीच बीच में शूट किया है, मेट्रो को समय लगा तो बीच बीच में शूट कर रहे थे. अभी वो उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट थी, वो कैरेक्टर ऐसा था कि वो सामने वाले को बोलेगी यू आर अ लूजर, यू आर अ फकिंग लूजर.
Yeah.
ये वो है ही नहीं.
हाँ.
ये चुपचाप बैठ के बड़े डिग्निफाइड में बोलेगी कि तुम मेरी बाउंड्रीज क्यों डिसाइड करोगे.
Right.
तो सच डिफरेंट कैरेक्टर्स है, लव
Exactly.
स्टोरीज,
Exactly.
बट वहाँ पे चीखम चिल्ली हो रही है, उसको थप्पड़ मार रही है.
Exactly.
और यहाँ पे तो मतलब हम वो जगह पे जा ही नहीं रहे. सो इट्स नाइस फॉर मी ऑल्सो टू परफॉर्म लव स्टोरीज एंड रोमांटिक स्टोरीज इन डिफरेंट, कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट सुर.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm also scared. Okay, is it good enough? Is it enough? Is it too subtle? Is the performance too restrained? But that now I'll know if it's resonating or not with people. I try to be honest. So, it's just interesting for me also as an actor.
Absolutely. I can vouch for it. It definitely resonates. And finally, on a parting note, I keep talking, I know it sounds a little repetitive, but I do keep talking to actors about being stereotyped. I know it's been asked to you like a million gazillion times in different ways, but I still ask this, and I purely ask this because, as I mentioned, in a very similar zone, the success of a project or of a character dictates the choices, you know, that come to you. I'm not talking about your own choices.
Yeah.
You have one project that's done phenomenally well, and you'll have like 5 scripts,
Correct.
related to that coming in. At your stage, you had the, the complete, thing, ki, chalo, theek hai, I have 5 scripts. I can say no to all of them if I don't like them, right? In your stage, it might be a little difficult, might be a
Yeah.
little easy. How do you tackle, in your case, how do you tackle this dilemma कि यार मेरे को काम भी करते रहना है, but मुझे ये भी ध्यान रखना है कि मैं वही चीजें ना करती रहूं.
मैंने तो वही किया
वही किया.
जो मुझे करना है. I mean, all my roles have been different. Modern Love has been very different. Dangal has been very different. Here, my character is different. Metro is different. So even Ajeeb Dastan. So I have only done work that I resonate with.
Yeah.
And because मुझे खुश रहना है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है जहाँ पे आपको लगता है कि यार ये पैसे के लिए करना है, तो वो टाइम पे आप इवेंट्स करते हो ये सोच के कि रिबन काट लूंगी तो पैसे आ जाएंगे, तो एटलीस्ट मेरे पास चॉइस होगा टू डू द फिल्म दैट आई वांट टू डू, एंड दैट्स द एंडेवर. एंड अगर ऑनेस्टली अगर ऐसा कभी ज़िंदगी में पॉइंट आए जहाँ पे मुझे पैसे के लिए भी काम करना पड़ेगा, वो भी मैं ऑनेस्टली करूँगी, क्योंकि अगर मैं सेट पे हूँ, मैं प्रोफेशनल हूँ,
Right.
एंड आई वोंट वेस्ट समबडी else's टाइम बिकॉज माई इंटेंशन इज डिफरेंट.
Right.
बट एट दैट मोमेंट आई एम गोइंग टू वर्क very honestly.
Fantastic. And just to round off with you, sir, on these lines only, because as we mentioned, you have the versatile,
Yeah.
roles and everything right now and all that. Right now, I know at your stage, none of these things matter in a way that, success gets to your head or, continued love gets to your head and everything. But what are you, one thing, as an actor even today, because you're still vulnerable self with your own self, right? You're vulnerable. You're trying to get things right in your own mind. What is the one thing you will always take cognizant of?
That I will not let my biases and conditioning get in the way of my choices. So, very close friend of mine had told me, always look beyond the obvious.
Yeah.
कभी कभी ना किसी का नाम सुनते हैं या उसके बैकग्राउंड सुनते हैं या उसकी आवाज़ सुनते हैं या उनके कपड़े दिखते हैं और आपके माइंड में ना इम्प्रेशन बन जाता है
True.
कि यार ये सही नहीं होगा, ये बहुत सही है. But you still have to look beyond the obvious, and sometimes you find a gem in a place that you never expected, or yet again find a complete jerk in a place that you thought you will find the best of friends.
Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. And as I mentioned, it is just fitting that they have these thoughts in process, but everything has transpired so beautifully in this film. I cannot recommend enough. And I know it's sometimes it's
Yeah.
not just ego massaging for the sake of it or
Yeah.
anything. I've genuinely loved the film and I've been recommending already. Of course, for everyone, it's going to drop soon. So I still keep recommending this film. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so
This was
much.
such a lovely conversation.
Likewise.
And I hope that this works wonders in all ways possible.
Yes.
And you guys have the best, lineups ahead. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
all the
Thank
best
you.
for that.
Thank you so much. Very kind of you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.